My name is Vastine. I've lived in Scotch Plains for approximately 3 years, and prior to that I lived in Plainfield, right around the corner. I think one of the things that has unfortunately occurred or occurs in political campaigns is that people, the politicians that are running for office, are hoping that no one has been paying attention. Here locally, we've had a debate. There's been some press releases and things of that nature. And I find that the rhetoric doesn't match up with the record. My reason for getting involved in politics, for getting involved in public service, is that I think we need more people that are willing to put everything on the line to lead, even if it might be detrimental to themselves. I'm not afraid to say what I think and mean what I say, which is not necessarily the most political thing to do. But I look at people like Governor Christie, who has basically become a hero to many, and not just in the Republican Party, but to a lot of independents out there, because for the first time in recent memory we've got a politician who's speaking the truth. So a lot of my motivation for wanting to be involved is to help lead within the community in the face of difficult times, and hopefully eventually in the face of good times. I'm originally from Texas, and everything was great in Texas until oil went below $10 a barrel back in the 80s. But the unique opportunity there was that people learned from that experience, so that the next time the price of oil went up, they remembered that tough time, and they didn't act as frivolously and as careless as they had been previously. There are a number of issues specifically, but I think they all come back to a basic concept, which is, who's going to tell me the truth? Who's not going to just tell me what I want to hear in order to get elected? Who's going to tell me the truth about how we can solve this problem? My two running mates, Tony and Sal, and I have kind of adopted a mantra which really resonates with us, which is we want to manage from the bottom up. We don't want to be sitting in City Hall with nobody paying attention, putting ordinances on the books and making decisions that affect everyone's life and then push it out on them. We want to be more involved with the community. We want to be in touch with the community, either as Sal mentioned, the community forums, walking door to door after the election, getting input, creating a citizens committee that represents, see, in Scotch Plains, ultimately everyone's elected at large. So every neighborhood doesn't have direct representation. And one of the ideas that we have is that we want to be able to create a citizens commission that is supported by the council, that allows people from different neighborhoods in Scotch Plains to have their voices heard and for their concerns to be made public. So, there's the issue of the taxes. Everybody's talking about that. There's the issue of communication. Everybody's talking about that. There's the issue of the SID. Everybody's talking about that. The difference between our campaign and everyone else in this race is that we haven't been in office for the last 4 years doing nothing about those problems. So I think we come at it from a real perspective, from a truthful perspective, and from a fresh perspective. I mean, first of all, let's go back up to 30,000 feet. The reality is that most of the cost of education is not in the classroom. Most of the cost in New Jersey for education is in the cost that the unions impose, and a lot of administrative costs. So I think what the governor said was, if the teachers are willing to take a 1-year pay freeze, now, let's be clear, he didn't say a pay cut, he didn't say an indefinite pay freeze, he said a 1-year pay freeze and contribute 1.5% to your benefits, we will be a much more solid footing going forward. Now, if you and I are sitting here and we're teachers, and the choice is for me to take a pay freeze and contribute 1.5% to my benefits, or you get laid off. To me, I would rather take a 1-year pay freeze and contribute to my benefits than to see you get laid off. But the choice that was made, which was a directive from the unions, was not to do that. As a result, a lot of school budgets were voted down by the community. Because the fact of the matter is, we've been in a zero inflation economy for a number of years now, and yet all the public employees keep getting raises. Now, we understand there's a trade-off for a lot of things, but in a difficult time, rather than see one of your colleagues get laid off, or rather than see a program for a child be eliminated, because remember, it's all about the kids. Rather than see those things happen, why wouldn't you be willing to take a 1-year pay freeze and contribute 1.5% to your benefits? To me, that is the most logical solution to the problem. And I think the governor was very clear that we are at 60% funded for our liabilities. If we do this, in 10 years we will be at 90%. So it's almost like you'd rather not give up something a little bit today and make sure that you get more later. Because of what? That to me is not sound logic. The overriding reason why I want to be involved is because to me, a lot of our elected officials have compartmentalized themselves. Now, Town Council in Scotch Plains has no influence over the Board of Education. I get that. But we represent the people. And there should have been a stronger voice publicly in support of the public. Instead of just saying, well, you know what, that's a Board of Education matter, we can't influence that. My perspective is, maybe we don't have a direct vote on those matters, but as leaders in the community, we should be involved. We should be actively pursuing solutions that benefit the community, not just put it off on somebody else. You know, my father worked for George Bush Sr. when he ran for the U.S. Senate. So I grew up in an environment where I've been a Republican. And probably early on I didn't really know what it meant. As an adult, as someone who's got young kids, as someone who pays property taxes, as someone who has to go out and work for a living, I embrace the Republican Party because I believe the Republican Party represents and holds dear the values of hard work, efficiency, and self-reliance. Now, there are parts of both parties that are extreme right, extreme left, extreme whatever, and I get that. But the reality of it is that when you look at the party as a Republican, when you look at the people like my running mates, Tony Patty and Sal Trafiro, when you look at their core values and what motivates them every day to get up and go to work, or to come home early so they can be with their family, or to do the right thing, and not just what's politically expedient, that's what I like. I feel absolutely confident in the character, in the type of people, in the abilities, in the leadership and problem-solving capabilities of my two running mates, that I have never had a doubt in my mind that if we are elected, we will have an impact on the future of Scotch Plains, and we will provide the leadership to see Scotch Plains through a very difficult time.